All right, man. It's on.
What's up, everybody? This is Philip Enriquez for the Say What You Like Sports podcast. And today, here on the channel, we're going to talk a little 49ers. We're going to get you up to date on what's going on with the San Francisco 49ers now that they are getting ready to start training camp. So I brought my buddy in here, my co host, Eric Hernandez. Eric, get us caught up on the 49ers going into training camp. In particular, what's going on with Nick Bosa, man?
Yeah. Again, my name is Eric Hernandez, part of the Red and Blue Rivalry on the Say What You Like network. And if you're a 49ers fan, the question that's starting to creep into your mind is, when is Nick Bosa going to get signed? When is Nick Bosa going to get signed? You know, people are getting a little worried. Is he going to be like his brother? Is he going to hold out? You know, how is this going to affect his season? This is a big year for the Niners. And even though he's a rookie, he plays a big part. So I'm here to talk a little bit about that, give my personal opinion about that, and of course our other non-signed rookie in Deebo Samuel. But let's start off with the centerpiece, Nick Bosa. So training camp a few days away, players report on Friday, and no contract for Nick Bosa. Now, most 49ers fans already know that when it comes to signing their top picks, they kind of wait till the last minute. And, you know, the stories of Mike McGlinchey getting, I believe, that day, the first day of training camp. And then, you know, I believe Solomon Thomas didn't sign until the day before. So we already know that the Niners will take their time, and I fully expect that if he's not signed by Friday, he will be ready to go by Monday and sign. But I understand some concerns, so let's go over them. One is a holdout. You know, with the new CBA, you don't see so many of those anymore. I know 49ers fans are, you know, remember infamously the Crabtree holdout, which took the whole season, it feels like. But with Nick Bosa, you know, I feel like he's going to be ready to go, and I understand people's thought process to going with his brother. Another big thing for him is injuries. I mean, he kind of sat out his last year at Ohio State, hurt his groin. He spent his whole day, or his whole season, getting in shape, getting ready for the draft. He performed at the combine, and then he comes to OTAs and he tweaks his hamstring. And then he gets shut down. And some 49ers freaked out. Most of us kind of said, it's okay, this is when these injuries happen, especially someone like him who hasn't played football in a very long time. Now, if he's not getting in football shape, you know, he's already a great athlete. If he's not getting in football shape, you know, people are going to say, okay, he comes on the field, if he pulls or tweaks something, and he's out for 2-3 weeks, or he's hampered, or worse, he's hampered throughout the rest of the season, the questions come, well, did that arise because of the holdout? You know, so I can see why people are a little nervous, a little wary of that. But I'm here to rest your house. Okay, he will be signed. The Niners are not like the Chargers. There's going to be issues with money. They will have him ready to go. You know, this company that his agency, his CAA, you know, they're notorious. They have a few other players that aren't signed yet, so I'm not too worried there. I know that when time comes, he'll be ready to go. Now, what we're hoping for is that he's ready to go and is the centerpiece of this defense on training camp. So we're good. You know, the other rookie that's unsigned, and it's a little weird too, is the second round one, Deebo. I believe has the same agency, CAA. And, you know, in my honest opinion, I want him signed. I want him there. because unlike Nick Bosa, who you feel is a tactician and will do his thing, Debo Samuel is completely dependent on learning a complex offense for a rookie, and being able to get chemistry with Jimmy Garoppolo. So you want to see him front and center. He's an integral part of the offense, and he's going to be an integral part of getting together, playing underneath the routes. So you want him signed, sealed, and delivered. So that's kind of the big thing. But at the end of the day, I think both Nick Bosa and Debo Samuel will be signed, sealed, and ready to go for training camp. I don't think this is going to be a big deal. I personally can't wait. So all the negative Niners fans, all the 40 Winers fans out there who only want to look at the negative and not even look at like, hey, the positive, or even just let's wait and see. They just want to jump to the negative. They'll be quiet because Nick Bosa will be ready to go. He'll be signed up and he'll perform great. Now, another thing that we're kind of worried about is that people have talked about, the whole article that came on the Bleacher Report about the Niners and about their scouts. And, what's going on. You report scouts want to quit. They don't feel like they're being valued. It was a big story. Most of that story was positive. Richard Sherman getting everybody pumped, and the feeling of, hey, this team's going to go and play for a Super Bowl. So you get some negative with the scouts. Now, when it comes to the scouts, they feel like their voices aren't heard or stuff like that. What you have to realize is if you're a scout, man, I'm sorry, but your job is to write an evaluation of a player, whether you're covering a guy in Southern California, Texas, Ohio State, or Rutgers. Okay? That's the big thing. And John Lynch right now, I guess, is famous for going with his coaches and what his coaches' opinions are rather than his scouts. So, that's John Lynch's the bed that he's made. He's going to have to lay in it. But, at the end of the day, I trust that Kyle Shanahan. I trust that Kyle Shanahan has put the right coaches in at every level. Guys like Bobby Turner, who know what they're looking for and, know what they need. And, yeah, it's backfired in Joe Williams, but it's also helped in George Kittle. So, that's what I'm looking forward to as far as getting these guys up. I appreciate the scouts do their job, but let's let the coaches coach. Another thing in training camp is getting to see Jimmy Garoppolo, getting to see him healthy. For Niners fans, the NFL season, let's be honest, man, it ended week 3 when he tried to run out of bounds against the Chiefs and blew out his knee. And, it's kind of one of those things where I remember being very upset and a lot of liquor consumed that day. So, getting to see Jimmy 100% healthy, getting to see him ready to go, how he performs. I'm not expecting no interceptions. Of course, he's going to test the offense. He's learning the offense again. He's learning the players that he didn't get to play with, So, Jimmy coming back and just showing will be great. Showing that he's healthy will be great. Our group of running backs, that's the other thing we want to talk about is, most of them are hurt, and the one guy that's not is the free agent Tevin Coleman. And the guy who, was coached under Kyle Shanahan, he's got the leg up. I think Matt Breida's a fan favorite. Matt Breida is, the guy at Niner fans, undrafted, got in there, did his thing. But, man, Tevin Coleman, that dude is going to be great. You have the wide receivers. You're looking forward to seeing some chemistry. You're looking forward to see what this new defense looks like. If you're a 49ers fan, you got to be pumped up. The scouts, we're not going to worry about that story. That's in the past. That's if they win, who cares? So
what you guys need to be worried about, my man, is getting into a double-digit win season. Is this going to happen or what?
Yes. Now, I'm not going to give up my prediction of where they finish and what their season is. I'll save that for another episode to be continued on that note.
Oh, yeah, we're going to hit you with the previews and predictions up here on the Say What You Like Sports podcast.
But right now, I think they hit double digits fairly easy. I think that you have
easy.
You
hear this guy?
Easy. For once, this team is built. This is what Kyle Shanahan wanted. What people forget is this is his third year. Not his first, it's his third year. Okay, so what you have to look at is built out his roster. He's got his players. Just as long as, like I say, health. But that's anybody. So my thing is, I'm not going to count health. I'm going to say majority of them are healthy for a majority of the season. And if that's the case, they cleared 10 wins relatively soon.
Well, another thing that I wanted to bring up since we're live streaming right here, just shooting the shit right here. Want to talk about, the road to Santa Clara, man. We're going to be headed up to Santa Clara for the game one of the NFL preseason between the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys at Levi Stadium. We'll be live streaming this up. But what do you want to see? Like, for instance, yesterday when I got up on the live stream, I really said I'm going to be taking a closer look at the backup quarterbacks like a Cooper Rush, like a Mike White, and see what the depth looks like going into 2019 behind Dak Prescott. But what are you looking for in that game? Who do you want to see play, and who are you going to be keeping an extra eye on in that game?
I think for me personally, it's going to be the backup defensive line because guys like Ronald Blair, who showed flashes. So instead of being the guy and having to always deal with the number one left or right tackle, now, he's the backup. He's the one that's going to give Dee Ford a breather. He's the one that's going to give Nick Bosa a rest. Seeing him progress. This is, I think, going to be his third year. Julian Taylor, you want to see him progress. And finally, Kentavious Street, who they took, I believe, in the 4th round last year, who I think tore his ACL while doing visits. He's going to be 100%. I think the 49ers look at him as Eric Armstead's replacement at the big end. Powerful defensive end who can play against the rush and collapse the pocket. So for me, what I want to see is how good is this defensive line, especially against Dallas. Because I know Dallas is going to have their backups. I want to see them because at the end of the day, if they perform up to their abilities, then that defensive line has a chance to be special all the way through.
You expect for the starters to see any action? You expect to see Garoppolo in game one?
No.
No, not at all. Not even for a series.
No. The more I hear from beat writers and everything you hear on Twitter about him is that if he wasn't coming off that injury, you probably would see him. But I think they're going to take extra care of him. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see him till week 3. But I think that's a good chance for a guy like Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins came out of nowhere, being able to. He made his name last year, coming back against the Cowboys in the preseason game. So, getting to see him start. I'm excited to see him and Beathard battle it out. To see Tevin Coleman, to see how he runs. Famously when we watched the game last year, you saw Jerick McKinnon have issues. Kind of getting down that outside zone. He didn't look comfortable, bounce stuff outside. Now you have a guy who's a natural at that position. Natural at that scheme, I should say. And he knows what he's going to do. So, Nick Mullins, Tevin Coleman, the backup defensive line. Hopefully we get a little bit of Deebo Samuel. Got to see some Deebo. And the rest of the defense, and how they attack the schemes. They're changing up a little bit of their defense, So I'm excited to see all of that. I'm excited to be there live. I can't wait to see all you 49ers fans. Okay with the Cowboys fans. But you know what? I'm excited to have some fun with you guys. You guys out there join us. It'll be a blast, no?
That's what I'm saying. One more thing too. Like while we're getting ready to head up to Santa Clara, man. I'm wondering, like, how many starters on defense do you plan on seeing?
I think you'll see a little bit more of them. I think you'll see Buckner for a series or 2. You'll see Dee Ford for a series or 2. The linebackers. I think the one that probably you won't see is maybe Sherman. Richard Sherman probably won't play if he is. It's a series. So the beautiful thing with this is the Niners have been trying to really build the depth out of that defense. You have Jaquiski Tartt at safety and you got Marcel Harris. And right now that's a battle, to see who's going to be the starting safety. They just gave Jaquiski Tartt big money last offseason to be their starting starting strong safety. So, it would be pretty bad if he loses out to a 6th-round pick and that's it for him, So I'm excited to see the battle there between him and Marcel Harris. I'm excited to see the battle at free safety. Adrian Colbert, 2 years ago flashed big. Rookie, he looked great. Last year he looked lost. So getting to see if, was the first year of Fluke, was the second year of Fluke. That's a lot of things that you're going to tell right off the bat.
What do you think about the fan base, man? You think you're going to see a lot of 49ers fans in their own stadiums? Because I got to be honest with you, man. The last time I headed up to Santa Clara, that stadium was all blue, baby.
Yeah, fortunately, like Jim Tom Sula, Chip Kelly doesn't give you much to cheer for. And, I think
that was the Chip Kelly era.
Yeah, was the Blaine Gabbert game.
Yeah, that was the Gabbert game.
Yeah, not a fun game. I think that's a reflective of how they felt about ownership. That was still 2 years from losing Jim Harbaugh. So they're still mad. They're still pissed off. And I don't blame, 49ers fans that felt that way.
So all's forgiven because Kyle Shanahan's a god, I guess.
Yes, he is.
I mean, I hear he's like, basically he's the end-all be-all for offensive coordinators.
He is.
Yeah, I hear like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I hear there's not a touchdown he can't score. I hear that there's not an offense player he can't work with.
You've been reading out of the same Bible as me.
Yeah, right? I think so. I mean, that's what it sounds like, man.
Yeah.
But regardless, what about the defense, man? What do you guys got going on there? We talk about the defensive line. We talk about some of the talent that I will openly admit the defensive line is amongst the most talented in the NFL, if not the most talented in the NFL. It's all a matter of if they put it together. But how do you feel about the coaching from on the defensive side of the ball?
That's the big issue is, Robert Saleh came in, linebacker coach from Jacksonville. He never kind of coordinated a defense, and he's taken a lot of flack. A lot of 49ers fans midway through last season wanted him fired. Kyle Shanahan is very loyal to his coaches, and he wants to put them in the best position they can to win. He realizes, I think, that he didn't put Robert Saleh in the best positions to win with the pieces he had. They had no defensive end. They had issues at linebacker, with Reuben Foster, and Malcolm Smith were not great linebackers. So this is a put up or shut up for, we've talked about them as a coach, including the defensive coordinator. Now they did add Joe Woods to their secondary, who was secondary coach in Denver, who helped with Aqib Talib and Chris Harris, So I think he's going to be a good asset for them. They added, I think, Kusurik on the defensive line, who comes from that wide 9, which is perfect for a guy like Dee Ford. So the position coaches, they've elevated, they've improved, they've given Robert Saleh the pieces. This is a make or break, because if they win 8-9 games and the defense still flounders, he's going to be the one, not Lynch, not Shanahan. It'll be, Robert Saleh to be the first one on the chopping block.
So the other side of that Bible and the, I guess, the New Testament is that Shanahan can't do any wrong. Blame the defensive coordinator for all your woes.
If they can't stop people from scoring, then yes.
Yeah, Well, let me ask you one last question before we get up on out of here. Are you truly more confident in the offense than the defense going into 2019?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Why? Because of Shanahan?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because in my mind,
I'm either psychic or talking to a fucking 49ers fan.
Smart one. So I think it's this. It's the fact that Shanahan has shown that he can scheme up. You watch games. Yeah, they can only do so much with the talent they had. 49ers fans would get frustrated. A lot of should-haves. Last season. They should have beaten Green Bay. They should have beaten Arizona twice. They should have beaten, Chicago. They should have beaten Tampa. They had the ability to move the ball up and down the field. With who? They blew out the Raiders. They blew out the Broncos. So they didn't do that because they had great talent on the offense. They did it because they had great schemes. And I think that once you build those schemes with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's coming back, and you saw what he did at the end of 2017, I mean, I have the utmost faith in the world that they can move the ball up and down the field. And it's just the secondary that scares me on the defense.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know what? We're going to kick off this red and blue rivalry over at Game 1 in the preseason, Cowboys-Niners. And regardless of what happens and exactly how it goes down, man, I think it should be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we hope to for you guys to tune in while we're heading up to Santa Clara. Be a part of the red and blue rivalry. Make sure to sub up to the channel. Leave a like. Help grow the channel. It helps a lot, man, because we are really trying to work on this video thing. We grew the channel and the podcast in an audio format, but we're really not growing like we'd like on the video format. So here we are. let us know that this effort is appreciated. Eric, you got anything to say before we let these people go and we kind of fade to black here by Metallica?
Go Niners.
Cowboys.